Hello students, welcome to another math review question. Here we're looking at trying to find the non-permissible values for this following expression. What we have here is a rational expression, and we have one polynomial over another polynomial. A rational expression does not need to have a polynomial on the top or the bottom. Many of ours will in this section. When you have a polynomial like this, all you need to look at is what might not be allowed in the denominator, which means what would make the denominator 0. If you have something like a square root, you also need to look at what might be non-permissible values in that function itself. So in this case here, let's just take a look at this denominator and see when it might be equal to 0. I've rewritten it over here. Now we're trying to figure out when this might be equal to 0. You could obviously use the quadratic formula and try to solve for x. That would give you a solution. It might take a little longer. The simplest and the fastest way, if it works relatively easily, is to try to factor it. Well, take a look at the number of answers. Notice there's an 8. There's also an 8 over a 9 twice. We could try to eliminate that. One way we would eliminate that, 8 over 9, this would have to be 9x then, and this would have to be an 8. And this here, if this is an 8, 8 times what? 8 times 7 is 56. This is going to have to be a 7. These will have to both be positive or both be negative. We just have to try to figure this out. This one will have to be negative for this to be positive. Just trying to take a look and see what might work here. And this will have to be x. Now let's just write something down. Of course, you have a couple of answers here. You could have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 9, and then you can have various answers over here. So I'm just putting this one in here and this in here because of this answer and this answer. So either you'd have a minus sign there, or you'll have to have a minus sign over here to get the minus 9. So I'm just trying to figure it through logically, see if we can get something to work. Minus 9 times this was minus 9x squared. I forgot to put the x squared up there. Minus 9 times this is minus 9x squared. And then this term over here is 56. That works. Let's take a look at the cross terms. This is 8x. And this one here is minus 63x. Add those up, and you're going to get minus 55x. This happens to work. You'd have a number of possibilities to go through. Limit yourself to maybe the answers that are given. That eliminates a bunch of possibilities. So if this works now, what we need to do is we have two things multiplied together, and we want to find out when they are equal to 0. Because when they're equal to 0, when this whole expression is equal to 0, that gives you values that are not permitted in the denominator. So if a times b is equal to 0, then either a has to equal 0 or b has to equal 0. For a to equal 0, it means minus 9x plus 8 has to equal 0. So you have this here. Now you take this 8 to this side, or you could take this 9 to this side. Let me do that just so I avoid a bunch of minus signs. It's going to be equal to 9x is equal to 8. Now divide both sides by 9, and you're going to have x equals 8 over 9. Well, notice right away, that's one of our answers. So that's the only answer that works there, and that there's not multiple questions with 8 over 9. So this is one of our answers, but let's check the other side just to be sure. We also need to figure out this one. So when x plus 7 equals 0, x has to equal minus 7. So this is the case that would make this second part of this factoring equal to 0. It matches both of these answers. So you found the solution for this one. Check that off. Let's get on to the next question.